I awake in the darkness, my wife stirring in her sleep beside me as I turn off the alarm clock. I sit up in bed and try to clear the cobwebs from my brain. I've been ill for a long while, and things seem hazy, hazier than half sleep would make them. I try to remember the past few days, but nothing but random, meaningless images will come. It must have been quite a bug. I feel fine now. It's back to work, I guess. Taking a deep breath, I heave out of bed and stumble sleepily to the bathroom. After relieving myself, I slip off my panties and gown and place a shower cap over my curlers. The hot water is invigorating as I wash. I quickly shave my legs and armpits and am out in the steamy air, drying myself. I rub moisturizer into my soft skin, then begin carefully shaving my sparse beard. Soon, my face smooth and tingling, I don my bathrobe and walk toward the bedroom. As I close the bedroom door behind me, I see the bed is empty and hear sounds in the kitchen. I turn on the light and let my robe fall to the floor. I pull up a lacy pair of beige panties, tucking my parts out of sight. Next comes the matching bra, and I reach behind my back to fasten it, then insert the 2 silicone breast forms into the cups. Sitting down on the bed, I put my pink polished toes into a part of suntan control top sandalfoot pantyhose and work the sheer nylon up my legs and over my panties, being careful not to snag the hose with my long, pink nails. I don a black full slip and sit down at the vanity. I use some concealer to hide the faint shadow of my beard, then apply foundation and powder. I do my eyes next. The eyeliner makes them stand out, and a deft application of mascara and eyeshadow make them look smoky and mysterious. Some blush and muted lipstick follow, and I smile at the feminine face in the mirror. I pull on a black pleated skirt that falls to mid-calf, then a pink short-sleeve shell with black tipping. Over that I wear a matching long-sleeve V-neck cardigan and step into black patent leather pumps with chunky heels. It takes some time to remove my curlers and style my short, dark brown hair, but I am satisfied with the final result. It's healthy, shiny, and full of body. My only wish is that it was longer. Well, that will come with time. I complete my look with some tasteful jewelry, silver watch on my slender wrist, silver heart earrings in my pierced ears, and of course my wedding band and engagement ring. A spritz of perfume on my wrists and on the nape of my neck, and I stand back to admire the finished product. My look is professional, yet very feminine. Satisfied, I open the door and make my way to the kitchen. Peter, my 9-year-old son, is already sitting at the table, eating his breakfast. He is wearing the uniform required by his new school, white turtleneck, navy jumper, and black patent leather loafers. Navy semi-sheer tights complete the outfit quite nicely. His naturally curly auburn hair is pulled back in a ponytail. "Wow, Daddy, you look beautiful," he says with a smile. "Thanks, sweetie," I answer, not a little pleased. "You're looking quite pretty yourself. And how's my ravishing wife?" I say as I turn to kiss Marcia. She is in her robe, no makeup, and hair in a ponytail, but I swear she looks just as beautiful as the day I married her. I sit down and enjoy my Special K and grapefruit breakfast. I have to watch my figure, while we all talk about the coming day. Marcia has another job interview today. I wish her well. Peter reminds me that he has cheerleading practice after school. I begin to talk about my first day back to work, but am interrupted by a beeping car horn outside. It's time to go. I grab my purse and briefcase and kiss Marcia goodbye. Peter is already at the door, waiting for me. It's nice to see he's actually looking forward to school. Peter climbs into the back seat of the waiting car, joining his friend Robert, who is dressed in the same school uniform. He's a darling lad, very much a sissy. I slide into the front seat and greet Ken. Ken is my best friend. He's also my business partner. We started a little computing firm 10 years ago, and it's grown so much since then that we now have over 100 employees. It's a job we both love, and we run a pretty tight and professional ship. And thrifty. Even though we're both comfortably well off, we still carpool to work every day. Welcome back to the grind, partner, he says with a grin, as the car jerks into motion. Thanks a lot. I retort, rolling my eyes in mock dismay. Your hair looks pretty. I love the frosted look. Do you like it? He asks, fluffing it with a long-nailed hand. I went to the salon yesterday, and Jean talked me into it. I was unsure at first, but it's growing on me. Where did you get that adorable skirt? I think for a minute, but I feel strangely whenever I try to remember where I got my skirt. Or the other clothes I am wearing for that matter. Ken is looking at me oddly, and quickly changes the subject. How do you like my suit? It's lovely. The strange feeling I have passes. Ken's suit is very pretty. It's a gray two-piece with double-breasted jacket and a mid-thigh skirt. The white stockings he wears makes his legs look shapely and very sexy. In fact, Ken is a doll, with his long lashes and pouty red lips. I envy him. The boys are giggling in the back. Before I can ask them what's so funny, we come to a stop in front of the Ian Academy for Sissies. The boys quickly say goodbye as they slip out of the car. They join the throng of boys in the courtyard in front of the stately old stone building. I am proud that Peter was accepted to such an exclusive school. There he will be properly educated with the skills that a young ladyboy needs to succeed. I will be eternally grateful to Ken, who helped him get in. Robert was already a student there. My heart melts with pride as I imagine Peter as an adult, winning all the beauty pageants, beautiful in his long gown and tiara, tears of joy streaming down his face. The car stops again. I have been daydreaming, and we are already here at the office. Are you sure you're feeling up to it? Ken asks in concern, his hand on my arm. I'm fine, I assure him with a smile. I must look pale. I check my makeup in the mirror. I do feel a bit strange, almost nervous. I chalk it up to my long illness, and get out of the car. The hall is filled with the clicking of our high heels as we head toward the elevator. I revel in the sound. I love the way my stockinged legs feel when they rub together, the swish of my skirt, the taste of my lipstick. But something feels wrong. I can't quite place it, but something strange is happening. The music in the elevator reassures me. We get off on our floor and head toward the executive office. I see a few of our employees. All greet me warmly, but something in their eyes troubles me. An appraising look. Even Joy, my secretary, has a strange expression as she asks, "How are you feeling, Ms. Avery?" As I settle in behind my desk, things seem to return to normal. There's a lot to catch up on. So much, in fact, that when I look up next, it's already mid-afternoon. I get up and stretch, then walk down to the lounge. Marty, from the mailroom, is there. I ask him how he is, but he gets up from his chair and stares at me for a second. I had Ken Parker figured for a fruit, but not you, too. I'm not working for a bunch of sissies. He's shouting now. I quit. I am shaken by the encounter. My head is pounding, and I know something is terribly wrong here. I go to Ken's office and close the door. All right. What's going on? What's happening? Marty Fleischer just quit in a huff. I sit down in front of his desk, crossing my legs with a swish of nylon. Ken puts down his pen with a resigned look. I knew this would happen. He's been on edge ever since. Well, let me start at the beginning. You don't remember everything right now, Jack, but you will. And I hope you'll understand why we did what we did. I've always loved to wear women's clothing, Jack, ever since I was a little boy. I'm not sure why, that's just the way it is. Cindy knew about my little hobby when we got married. No one else did, not even you, Jack. You thought I was a man's man. Boy, did I have you fooled. Anyway, Cindy allowed me to dress up at home whenever I wanted, as long as no one else was around. I had it made for a while, until Robert was born. We both agreed that it would be best if I didn't dress in front of him. It was very frustrating to me, but it was necessary. I distracted myself in my work. We built our little empire in those years. I was driven, Jack, but for reasons you didn't know. And I couldn't tell you. By little comments you made, I knew that you had no tolerance for effeminate men, let alone crossdressers. So I dressed whenever I could steal some time at home, when Cindy and Robert were away. A couple of years ago, Cindy caught Robert trying on her clothes. She didn't scold him, but sat him down and talked to him about it. It was clear that he'd never seen me do it, so it had to be his own natural tendency. She and I discussed it, and decided to allow him to dress as a girl at home, if he really wanted to. Boy, did he! We bought him a dress of his own, and he was so happy he cried. Well, before long he had an entire wardrobe of girls' clothing, and he was dressed as a little lady every evening when I came in from work. In fact, I started putting on a dress when I got home as well. After all, there was no need to hide my secret from him anymore. We had family outings as 3 girls, and had a lot of fun doing it. But Cindy and I stressed to him that it was to be a secret from everyone else, and we took great pains in hiding it from everyone we knew. Especially your family, Jack. I swear to you that we all went to great lengths not to involve anyone else, including Peter. However, one day Marcia called Cindy while you and I were at work, and she was very worried. She had caught Peter wearing a pair of her pantyhose and putting on lipstick in the bathroom. Well, Cindy tried to console her, and one thing led to another, and pretty soon she was telling Marcia about Robert and me. Cindy said that Marcia sounded relieved when she hung up the phone. And that's all we heard about it for a while. I sure was afraid that she would tell you about our little secret, but my fears were unfounded. One day I came in from work, and was met at the door, as usual, by Robert. He was wearing a ballerina outfit, pink tights, leotard, and tutu. With him, though, was a friend, wearing a matching costume. I began to panic, and panicked even more when I realized that his friend was your son, Peter. Cindy and Marcia were sitting on the couch with big smiles on their faces. It turns out that Marcia had followed our example, in a way. She bought Peter some dresses of his own. But she didn't tell you, knowing you would explode. I was very concerned at this aspect of it, but Marcia argued that it was better than making Peter suppress his natural desires. I had to agree, albeit reluctantly. Later on, I was persuaded to show Marcia what I looked like en femme. So I changed into lingerie and a dress, quickly did my makeup and hair, and presented myself. Marcia was very enthusiastic, and so was Peter. I admit that I blushed at all the compliments. Eventually they convinced me that it was better to leave you in the dark on this aspect of your son's life. I guess you recall now how your son wanted to spend a lot of time over at our house. You probably thought he and Robert were playing ball and roughhousing. In reality, they were wearing dresses and doing each other's nails and hair. It wasn't long after that when Cindy and I discovered the Ian Academy for Sissies. We both knew it would be perfect for Robert. It would have been a dream for me to go there when I was a boy. Just imagine a school run entirely by feminine men and devoted to turning boys into proper young ladies. Robert was ecstatic. We eventually got an appointment with the schoolmistress, Ms. Arnold. We had Robert put on his best dress, stockings, and flats. Cindy and I both wore very proper and professional-looking dresses. The interview went well. Ms. Arnold is a very stern but elegant man in his 60s, the very picture of the stereotypical headmistress, complete with conservative wool suit and hair in a bun. Well, as you know, we enrolled Robert for the fall term. From that time forward, he has never worn boyish clothes again, except for the times when he would be around you. I was still afraid of your reaction, and didn't want to jeopardize our business or our friendship, not to mention Peter and Robert's friendship. But I know you gave Robert some strange looks from time to time. He may have been in boy's clothes, but it became increasingly difficult to hide his effeminate manner. Things came to a head about a month ago. Robert invited Peter to come watch the Christmas show at the academy. So Peter came over to our house early that evening and changed into a darling outfit consisting of a red long-sleeve tee, plaid skirt, red tights, and Mary Jane's. His hair was getting long, over your objections, and he looked like a pretty little girl. But he was awestruck when Robert came into the room. He was playing the part of a grown-up sissy maid in the play, and his mother had helped him get ready. He wore a French maid's outfit with starched white pinafore and short skirt. His face was fully made up, and he wore sheer black pantyhose and even black pumps with 1.5-inch heels. We had let him get his ears pierced, and he wore long, dangly earrings. He looked very beautiful and grown up, and I could tell that Peter was envious. There was a large audience in the school auditorium, and I was relieved to see that many of the students' fathers came en femme just as I did. Peter sat enthralled as he watched the very feminine boys on the stage. The play was a rollicking comedy about a very well-to-do sissy and his family's Christmas preparations. It was a rousing success. It wasn't very long after that when Marcia called Cindy and asked about the Ian Academy for Sissies. It seems that Peter had been talking almost incessantly about it ever since the night of the play. She was very impressed with what she heard, and I think she knew that it was what Peter needed. The seemingly insurmountable obstacle, of course, was you. There was no way you'd have any part of it, and would make Peter stop wearing girls' clothes as well. Not to mention the huge rift it would create between us. Marcia thought a lot about it, and it turns out that she had a plan. But, before she could implement it, disaster struck. Peter had spent the weekend with us, and you were due to pick him up at 7 o'clock on Sunday evening. At about 5 we returned from the mall, where the boys and I had been shopping. We all had on our Sunday best dresses. It was about time for us to get into boy mode in preparation for your visit. The boys were giggling, and I didn't hear your car pull up. Why did you barge in without knocking, Jack? We all stood looking at each other, dumbstruck. I know you were in shock. There we were, your best friend, my son, and your son, all in dresses, pantyhose, and makeup. You started shaking violently and grabbed Peter's arm. Without saying a word, you dragged him out of the house, not even making him change into boy's clothes. The rest we learned from Marcia. You stormed into the house, demanding to know if she knew about Peter and about Robert and I. When she said yes, you turned purple for an instant, then collapsed. You were bedridden for 2 weeks. The stress and shock had decimated your immune system, and you contracted a very serious case of the flu. You slipped in and out of fever during most of that time. And Marcia, seeing an opportunity, acted. She had bought some music CDs which contained subliminal messages purported to increase the femininity of the listener. This had been her plan, to see if she could turn you into a sissy so that you could accept the rest of us. All the time you were in bed, day and night, she kept the music going. And meanwhile, threw out all your clothes and replaced them with women's fashions. When your fever broke 2 days ago, you awoke wearing a nightgown, with gold-piercing studs in your ears. You were horrified of your hairy body, and immediately insisted on showering and shaving all over. While you had been ill, Marcia had, with our help, enrolled Peter in the academy for the spring term. When he came in from school that evening, he was amazed at what he found. There you were, wearing makeup and a house dress, hugging him and telling him how pretty he was. The experiment had worked. You were now a full-fledged sissy. Your memory of recent events appeared to be very murky, and it seemed best that way. And you know the rest. I am amazed. My memory returned as he spoke. But that person I was seems a distant memory, almost someone else. I sit in silence for a while, taking it all in. Then I speak. I don't blame you all for what you did. I was a selfish, bigoted jerk. A barbarian. Now I'm a lady, and I love it. I love being pretty, wearing pretty clothes, and being with dear friends like you. We embrace, and are laughing and crying all at once. Good thing we both wore waterproof mascara. We dry our eyes and sit back down. Jack, there's more to the story, obviously. Once I learned of Marcia's plan of feminizing you, I saw the opportunity one had dreamed about. I decided to live the rest of my life as a feminine man. I threw away all my male clothes. And I came into work the next day in a dress. I called all the employees together and explained the change in my appearance. Most took it well. You see, I have always done the hiring for our company, and I think that I subconsciously chose people who were more tolerant and accepting. Including Marty, there have only been about 10 people who couldn't tolerate the changes and quit. I also announced that you were also a sissy, and when you recovered from your illness you would be coming to work dressed as a woman as well. He smiles. You see that I was counting my chickens before they hatched. But I hoped that Marcia's plan would work so very badly. He looks troubled. The next thing I may tell you may be more difficult to understand. Jack, those of us who have feminine tendencies don't have an easy time in this world. There are lots of people who are very hostile to us like you used to be. I get very tired of being looked down upon. There are places like the academy, but they are few and far between. I feel like we need to change things in whatever way we can. I couldn't bear the thought of us being outsiders within our own company. So, he sighs, I began borrowing the feminizing CDs from Marcia and playing them as background music within our building. Things have to change, Jack, and it's going to start right here. I am surprised, but I see his logic. Have there been any noticeable effects so far? Oh, definitely. I think many of the men here are a bit less masculine than average anyway, once again due to my hiring practices. But I have seen a lot more feminine gestures and movements among the men. Many keep their knees together when they sit. I have glimpsed the outline of a bra underneath the shirts of one or two, and evidence that some are wearing pantyhose underneath their pants. A few are even wearing clear nail polish. The women in the office have noticed, but have not said anything so far. I think this should complete the transformation. He hands me a typed memo entitled, Revised Employee Dress Code. It reads as follows: in order to promote equality and fairness and maintain a professional image here at Binary Computing, we are revising the employee dress code. The dress code will be the same for both men and women. The following items are acceptable apparel for work hours: blouses and shirts, skirts and dresses, city shorts with jackets, pantyhose, stockings, or tights. Hosiery should not be patterned, dress shoes with closed toes. The following items are inappropriate: pants or trousers, athletic shoes/sneakers, t-shirts, sweatshirts and sweatpants, shorts, leggings, halter tops or tank tops, teva-type sandals, beach thongs, shoes without socks. Employees are required to wear brasiers at all times. Makeup is encouraged, but should be subtle and appropriate for business appearance. Jewelry should be tasteful. Hair should be kept neat and should be no more than waist length. Facial hair is unacceptable. I shake my head and smile. This is wonderful. But is it legal? I checked with our lawyers, and we're well within our rights here. I don't think there will be any objections, at this point anyway. The women seem to be very accepting of us, and the remaining men are so sissified at this point that it will be a relief for them to be allowed to dress femininely at work. I giggle with delight. By all means, send it out, then. Make Monday the effective date, that way the guys will have time to shop for their new outfits. The thought of all the men in our office busily working in skirts and hose fills me with great pleasure. Ken and I stand and embrace. Our friendship is stronger than ever. As I turn to leave, he says, "Hey, there's a shoe sale down at the mall. There's this absolutely adorable pair of sandals that I just have to have. Would you like to stop by after work?" I smile. Me, miss a shoe sale? Not on your life.